Welcome back to more immigration consumer tips with us here at Gorton Law. I'm attorney Jamie Gorton. I'm the principal attorney at Gorton Law here located outside of Boston, Massachusetts. And remember, it's not a bald spot, it's a solar panel for a green card machine. Today I'd like to cover a video topic that I'm calling What to Expect in Your Immigration Strategy Session. Immigration strategy session is one part of our case evaluation inside of our office. Today, as of 2022, if you're going to approach our office for help, the first thing that we would offer you is a free phone call with our client care coordinator. The client care coordinator would be able to interview you about your situation, learn more about some of the essential facts of the case, get some information that really helps us categorize and classify your type of request and what we'd be able to do for you. If you're invited for an immigration strategy session, you're going to be interviewed by our attorneys for about 45 minutes. You'll meet with one of our two attorneys in the office, and this can be done in person from our in-person office in Malden, or it can be done through phone or through Zoom video. When you start in with the immigration strategy session, our office has already taken a preliminary look and there's something about your case that we're interested in, or we've identified a need that we think we can help you with. And so we're ready to go and dive right in. But we always start with the same introduction because we want you to know who we are. I might introduce myself by saying that I am the lead attorney at the office, that I have been an immigration attorney since 2013, that we've helped many, many people obtain green cards and citizenship through our immigration processes in the United States, and that we have a full staff standing behind us, not just our associate attorney, but also our office manager, senior paralegal, client care coordinators, everyone on our team. The next thing that we would do is to set an agenda. Lawyers, we love to talk, especially if we're listening to the sound of our own voice at the same time. So it's very easy for the lawyer to just dive right in and say, this is what I see, this is what I think you should do, I'm so smart about this, here's what I need for the money. Well, it's usually better to start off by setting an agenda. And on our agenda, we always include 3 items: interviewing you and evaluating your case, our recommendations, how long it will take, and how much it will cost. These are questions that I would not want to ask if I was interviewing a lawyer for a very important job, which would be, my family's immigration. Instead, we want to make sure that those are always on the agenda, and no one needs to feel awkward or uncomfortable by asking the lawyer to give over the price information or to have the lawyer tell them the bad news of how many months their process would take. So once we set that agenda with our 3 big items, we will always ask our prospective client what they want to put on the agenda. That way, if there are any important questions that this person comes to us with written down in their notebook or they're carrying inside of their heads, it's written down on our notepad, we don't forget about it, and most importantly, neither does the person who we're meeting with. Once we set the agenda, it's off to the races. It's usually necessary for the lawyer to do a little bit of interviewing to get a few more pieces of information or factual data to really make sure we're on the right track. For example, it matters immensely as to whether or not a person enters the United States with a visa or without a visa. If they entered without a visa, is it because they had ESTA or is it because they crossed the border? If they crossed the border, were they apprehended? There are many different trees and branches on the decision trees that we use to evaluate cases. So a little bit of back and forth and getting to know each other is not only necessary, but is a frankly pretty good idea. one of the best things about being an immigration lawyer is being able to meet new people, learn about people who work in different fields and different industries and have come to the United States through so many different ways and for so many different reasons. It's really the best part, so we try not to skimp on it. Then it's time for an educational component. Once we've identified a solution and a process, we think that you should leave the interview or leave the immigration strategy session with our internal goal. Internally, our goal is that 100% of the person's questions get answered. This is not always possible. It is sometimes the case that a question requires additional legal research because it's a corner case or the fact pattern doesn't line up with what one would hope, or that there may be a genuine novel question of law that needs to get researched. Putting aside those corner cases, most people who come to us for an immigration strategy session are able to leave knowing that their paid consultation fee did provide them with 100% answers for their questions. We also want to be the ones who explain things clearly. We pride ourselves as being good explainers of the inexplicable, being immigration law. The process is long and is often convoluted, but we have enough experience, enough insight to be able to clearly communicate what's really going on when someone needs to hire a lawyer and when someone needs to have an application with immigration or when someone needs to interact with the immigration court. Then we'll always wrap up with a time for additional questions. We might have thrown a lot of new information at this person. We might have sort of seen the look of someone who's maybe a little bit at sea or maybe even drowning under the weight of what they've just learned. It's always good to take a moment, pause. There's always a time for questions and answers after all of the information has been delivered. A lot of lawyers will either accidentally or maybe a little bit more maliciously skip over this process on the way to trying to get the contract signed. We'll pause and always allow you to make sure that that list of questions that you came in with have all been checked off, or that new questions that you didn't know you had do get addressed. And then we'll be able to discuss not only what our fees are going to be and not only what the processing times for your applications will be, but also whether or not payment plans are available and what those payment plans are. Whenever possible on larger cases, we try to offer 0% interest-free financing, usually up to about 10 months, to help people afford and to space out the financial impact of hiring an attorney to represent them. And if a person is prepared to pay essentially in full or to make one or two payments on the case, we also offer a discount for being able to pay in full before the case is filed. And we'll always discuss that information as well. This is usually enough time to bring us through our 45-minute long consultation. Because of that, we typically send our contract for representation after the consultation is over. It's something that our potential customers and potential clients can look at from the comfort of their own home, think about, and then receive payment instructions to easily make payments to our office, either through bank transfers, cash, check, credit cards, envelopes of $20 bills, whatever is most convenient for our client. At the end of every immigration strategy session, I always hope that there's something that I personally can do to help the prospective client or to help their family.